Hey internets, it's Jake from Mini Terrain Domain, and this is Scribes and Scrolls, the Candlekeep Mysteries, and this is the very first episode in our new book, Book 5, Shemshime's Bedtime Rhyme. And this is episode, or chapter, 51, The Firefly Cellar. We are excited to be back. We took last week off, much to Gary's chagrin. Gary's always ready to play. But once we assured him that it didn't count against his absences, he was okay, right?
I mean, I was waiting at my computer for the Zoom link, so of course it doesn't count against my absences.
Speaking of absent, this is the last week that we will be without Carrie joining us. But we are very excited to welcome the newest member of the Scribes and Scrolls player, the table, and eventually the book club. Em, welcome. We put on an announcement on Twitter just recently, but as you can see, Em will be joining us, filling up that upper right-hand corner, exclusively for the reason of pointing upward at all the domain tomes that you drop now. Speaking of domain tomes, thanks to Tamiko for cheering and subbing. I owe you guys a couple of domain tomes. Let me see if I remember how to give you guys these. We could just forget about them. You don't really need them, right?
Hasn't been that long, Jake. And you know I'm counting.
Right. So do my math right. Here we go. There's all your stinking domain tomes, Gary. All right. All of our announcements pretty much are at the beginning and at the break in the placards, so we don't have a whole lot to tell you other than what we've already told you. And we're going to get to the game here in just a moment, but first we do want to just take a moment and remind you that you matter. Your presence on this earth makes a difference. Whether or not you believe that, it's true. And we take time before every one of our games to just remind you of this, and let you know that at any point in time, if you're feeling like you're not okay, you need some help and you're not sure where to turn, just type !help in the chat, and there, like that. And a help message will pop up with a link to findahelpline.com as well as the takethis.org resources. We encourage you to please bookmark that for yourself, bookmark it for a friend, keep it handy. It's all free, and there's all kinds of great stuff there for you if you or somebody you know is in need of some kind of mental health or other types of help. So please do use that, and remember, you matter. With that, I think it's time to play some Dungeons and Dragons. So, recently, you all completed a escort mission that took a very long time to get up the coast and travel upwards to a lost one-time mining town called Vermalen. You investigated some of what caused 70 years ago for the townsfolk to disappear under mysterious circumstances, finding that the mine had been inhabited by some sort of Shadowfell entity that had carved an entire new network of caverns into this region, into this mine system. You also found that there was this powerful memory thief, this entity that was using the memories of the town and manifesting them, trying to lure you in. But you were able to eliminate it. You suffered a couple casualties to your to the group you were with, though there was a the body of one of the Rack and Crack sisters, the Dwarven sisters, was put into stasis to be dealt with later. Once you defeated that creature, though, Vorn spotted the shadowy katana blade, and upon grasping it, all of you were transported to the Fortress of Memories, a portion of the Raven Queen's palace in the Shadowfell, where you all participated in an attunement ritual that Vorn needed to go through to attune ultimately to this weapon known as the Hand of the Queen. Vorn finding out that this weapon, created by the Raven Queen for the purpose of destroying the Blood Razor, the familial weapon that his sister currently possesses, or is possessed by. With the help of your other companion Kahlo, you were able to determine that this mine was in fact very rich. These new tunnels that had been magically carved out by the Shadowfell entity yielded lots of platinum and gems. Kahlo was placed in charge of the mine and is overseeing the operation there, in which you all and the Candlekeep library do have a stake. It'll take a little while for that to begin to pay out, but at some point you will start reaping the dividends from that. You were then we can't forget that Vorn also was visited by another member of the Silver Talons, one of the Shatterkai by the name of Sultator Umbercor, who again offered warnings and let Vorn know that Tira is not safe. Tira, who was... So much happened, I keep glossing over stuff. Tira was, before you left the mine, Tira was extracted violently through Shadowfell essence by some entity, pulled down into a puddle with no trace left behind. But Mizya was quick to scoop up some of that goo and put it in their bag of holding, narrowly avoiding some sort of crisis, putting a extraplanar entity into an extraplanar bag of holding. Yes, the Silver Talon told Vorn that Tira was not safe, that even they are unable to locate her. She is on the verge of having to make a decision, and not until she makes that decision will you even have a hope of finding where she is in the Shadowfell. The mining consortium sent a airship to bring the other parties where they needed to go and to transport you all back to Candlekeep. So, you have spent the last 4 days on this airship, traveling from where you were further north and down a river just south of the Troll Mountains. What, just for Doc and Vorn and Mizya, how did you occupy yourself during those 4 days? Doc, what was those 4 days of airship travel like for you?
Doc was mostly staring at the wall, very focused on his thoughts. And at one point he came up and surveyed the lands that were before them. And he remarked to no one in particular, Flying is much faster than walking.
Mizya, how about you?
So I mostly disappeared for the majority of the journey. I would have found either. Do we have any kind of lodging, any rooms or anything like that on
Yes,
this? Or?
this
Okay.
was a smaller ship, so you probably having to share quarters, but there's tight quarters. Yes.
So I would have just kind of holed up in one of my books, but if anybody checked in on me, they noticed that I was intensely studying something, and making notes and flipping through my book. And then on the morning of the fourth day, I come up on deck, and would anybody be up on deck that morning? I'll go find Doc, wherever Doc is.
I'll be on deck too, though.
I go up to Doc, and Doc, you see, there's like at the edge of my robes, there's something something kind of moving down by my feet, under the robes. Good morning, Doctor.
Hello, Mizya.
I'd like to show you something. I'm quite proud of it. If you recall, I've been studying the alchemical arts lately. I'm something of a tinkerer, in addition to my magic spells. And I know that you're something of an artificer yourself, and I've been studying it. And well, I think I'm rambling. And I will just lean down and I pull back the robe, and you see this little this shape kind of like peeks out, and you see like the shape of a small dog. But it's kind of metallic and glowing, and you see in the center of it is this kind of blue glowing stone that you would probably recognize as matching some of the crystals that we found in the mine. This is Oscar. He is my homunculus.
Oh, Doc is going to lean down, and he's going to put his finger out like this, and he's going to say, "Well, hello there, Oscar."
Oscar immediately rolls onto his side, and you see this like magical liquid like spray all over the floor by your feet. Oh, I apologize. He gets a little excited when he sees new things. I apologize.
Yeah, I think the goo is supposed to stay on the inside.
Yes, he's still learning. I hope he will stay with us. I think that's the whole point of having one.
Well, yes, technically, a homunculus that you've created is bound to your service, but you never want to make your homunculus feel that way, because ultimately they're not just a friend, they're a companion, someone that you can lean on in dark times. And then Doc is gonna look around. Where's Frank?
I haven't seen Frank in some time. Would you like me to send Oscar to look for him?
What if Oscar finds the same place and then they hang out with each other instead of us? That would be sad.
Oh dear, I don't think I want that at all. Oscar, you just stay there.
I'll find Frank eventually. He's quite a mercurial flower pot, you know.
He is quite. Well, good luck finding him. I'm going to take Oscar for a walk.
You know he doesn't need a walk. Is it a he?
Yes, he's a he.
Ah, yes. You know he's a homunculus. He doesn't actually need a walk. The walk is more for your spirit than his, but don't let me stop you, because ultimately you have to do what makes you happy.
Well then, Doctor, I'm going to take myself for a walk. Good day.
Very well. You should let Oscar come with you.
Yes. Thank you.
Doc is going to spin around, and he's going to promptly begin staring at the wall again.
Vorn, how are you filling your time?
Vorn has spent the majority of his time sitting with his newly attuned sword and in which case he sees, when you close your eyes and you see those swirls of light that you really don't see when you close your eyes, Vorn sees visions of a star exploding. He sees visions of rocks falling to different planets. He sees visions of someone hammering and forging the steel, but it's not really clear. And then he sees all the wielders of the weapon before himself, particularly one of a blind swordsman, one that has bandages wrapped around his eyes. And he sees this blind swordsman swing the sword in vertical angles, horizontal angles, from 6 to 12 in terms of a clock, from 1 to 9, all these different angles. And he's seeing how this sword is wielded, how it's held, how the heft of the sword feels in his hand. And in between those moments, there's a flash of Tira, but it's mainly sitting with the sword and listening to the sword's tale of how it arrived and how it became the queen's hand.
So you all keep yourself busy with your conversations, your observations from far above the Sword Coast. And on the 4th day, the 12th of Kythorn, the airship is brought down in a field close enough that you can see the towers of Candlekeep itself. But as Doc is well aware, there is a protective barrier over Candlekeep that prevents things from flying in or out. And so the airship drops you all on that road that leads into Candlekeep, the Lion's Way. Unfortunately, that means you're going to have to walk or ride your cart a couple of miles up the road to get to the castle, but you did pack up your cart and your donkey and your horses that you had brought with you. So you're able to get unloaded, and you begin making your way back along the Lion's Way westward towards Candlekeep. It is late in the morning on this day, the 12th of Kythorn. And as you are traveling along, you begin to notice that there is quite a crowd of people outside the gates of Candlekeep as you get closer. You all arrived at Candlekeep a couple months ago, and there was maybe 15 or 20 people. There are currently what looks to be about 60 people waiting to get into Candlekeep as you approach the front gate. What do you do as you're approaching?
Doc is going to ask the last person in line. He's going to say, "Excuse me."
So you just pull your wagon up alongside the end of the line, kind of coming to a stop. And the last person in line is a large furbolg woman. Large in the sense that she's about 7 feet tall. Very broad-shouldered. She has the slight bit of this downy light brown fur, and a couple little nubs of horns coming up, and she's wearing robes of shimmering shades of green, and she kind of turns and looks as you speak to her, and she looks up at you sitting on the wagon. I'm sorry. Were you talking to me?
Yes, that's why I said excuse me.
Yes, is there something I can help you with? The line forms behind me, if that's what you're wondering about.
Yes, obviously there's something you can help me with. That's why I said excuse me.
You're a very presumptuous young man.
I'm actually not that young, but thank you for noticing.
I'm not exactly one to spend time prognosticating and guessing at one's intentions, so unless you actually tell me what it is you want, I'm not really
sure.
going to be able to help you.
Absolutely. I'm happy to tell you what I want. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm curious, why is the long line so particularly long today?
If I had to put a finer point on it, I would say that an incredibly large number of people are wanting to gain access to the library.
Yes, but it seems exceptionally large, well above the average. I wonder if there's some event or particular reason that everyone's coming today.
Oh, well, yes, there is indeed an event. We are... well, I know myself I am here to be a part of the Scribes and Scholars semi-annual convocation. It's sort of a conference of Scribes and Scholars from around the realms gathering this year, or rather this season, this at Candlekeep. In the past, we've had gatherings at Baldur's Gate and Silvery Moon and Waterdeep. Are you here for the convocation yourself? I assume not.
Oh no, we live in Candlekeep.
How wonderful to dwell amongst such a exemplary institution of learning and repository of knowledge. You should count yourself lucky.
Well, yes, I've been told that before, but at the same time, I'm exceptionally smart, pretty much smarter than everyone I know.
Ah, you either have an incredibly large amount of confidence or arrogance. I'm not sure which.
Well,
Try ignorance. And Vorn walks past and continues on towards the front gates.
and as Vorn walks by, Doc is going to say, "I don't think that word means what you think it means." And he's going to speak to the Furbolg lady, and he's going to say, "Well, thank you for your time. If at any point you want to speak to me again, or you'd like any assistance navigating the library, you can just go to the hearth and ask for Doc. I'm usually standing against the wall, facing the wall. I'm pretty easy to spot because I'm quite large. Not as large as you, mind you, but still fairly large for the amount of people who live in Candlekeep."
I shall remember that then, Doc. I am Luthanian Harkness.
Luthanian Harkness. I promise I'll try and remember your name, but I do apologize. I tend to forget things quickly, so I will remember your face, and if you see me, please do come say hello. And then he's gonna turn to Phil, and he's going to snap the reins, and he's gonna say, "Come on, Phils, it's time to go home."
Ahead of you, Vorn on his horse has moved ahead, 50 yards or so. Mizya, am I correct in assuming you're seated as usual next to Doc, or are you elsewhere?
Nope, right next to Doc.
All right.
What's his temperature like?
Roll me. Each of you roll a d20.
14.
10.
As they always do, it's going to be single digits, and it's going to be 2.
Okay, so we got a 14, a 10, and a 2. Oh, every time I forget where these are. I just about had these memorized, and then you were in underground. Okay. So, this time of day, it's getting to be into the low 70s, which is pretty normal for the day. There's no wind. And it's a relatively cloudless day so far. So, actually quite a pleasant early summer day.
It does feel a little warm, though, doesn't it, Doctor? It's quite nice to look at, but I don't know. And I have my parasol up over my head now.
Well,
I wish we could get inside.
I think what we can say for sure is that it could be worse. And then Doc is gonna continue pressing the mules forward.
Mizya, make me a perception check, please.
It's daylight, right?
It is.
So yeah. It's a 9.
Okay. You all progress along the line, moving towards the front gate. The attendants at the gate are at first a little annoyed seeing the horses in the cart coming toward them. Fortunately, it's somebody that you've dealt with in the past, and you have your certificates, your papers, and stuff that identify you as working for the library. So you are let in to the library proper. As the door, as you sort of pass along the crowd and you're let in, and the large door is open the rest of the way. Togo, you are in a crowd of people trying to get into Candlekeep. You have been here for most of the morning, probably since first light. People had started lining up. It's a pretty orderly grouping of people. There's been a little bit of murmuring and discussion amongst various people here. As you are looking around your surroundings, you notice that a wagon carrying a couple individuals, escorted by somebody on horseback. You weren't really paying attention, so you didn't see them at first until they were already passing, and they were led in to the library gates without you really noticing who or what they might have been. Togo, tell us, who do we see standing in line waiting to get into the library at Candlekeep?
So you see a turtle clad in this brilliant golden armor, and he's standing quite tall. His shell behind him has in a similar color to what he's wearing, has been kind of, each of the shell pieces have been painted in a similar color, and he is taking a coin, and I imagine that there's this woman in front of him who's holding a child on her, as he is taking the coin, and he puts it through his small fingers, and it comes up suddenly with nothing as he's like flipping it around and moving it. All of a sudden, just gone. And then he reaches behind the ear of the child and produces the coin again.
And the child is amused, giving the proper look of astonishment every time you produce that. Where did it go? And you're able to sort of pass the time for a bit, to where before you know it, not long after this wagon has passed you by, you hear a voice that says,
Yes, excuse me. It is if it's your intention to enter the library, then you will have to present your work to me. As you are looking over your shoulder towards this child, you realize the line has moved forward, and you are next in line.
You see him suddenly turn ahead. Oh, and he kind of walks over.
It is a very, very small, very old gnomish man, wearing the robes of the orders of sages from Candlekeep, and he is actually standing up on a platform that allows him. He's still his eye line is much shorter than yours, but it allows him to have vantage point with whomever. There's a couple other scribes that are nearby that are collecting the books and works from other people and annotating. And he looks at you as you come forward.
Hello and welcome to Candlekeep, to the Great Library. I am Master Sage Erky Tarklesby, and I will be reviewing your work. Do hope that it meets the criteria so that you may gain entrance into the library. Are you here for the convocation, by chance?
Well, not exactly. Togo says as he's like beginning to rummage through his pack that he has. You know, I'm looking for my friend. That's why I'm here, he says as he's pulling out. You see he pulls out a rabbit's foot, a 4-leaf clover, a horseshoe, another coin, as he's like pulling out some of these things. Oh, but where did I put it? You know, the funniest thing happened to me. I was walking down and I thought, Togo, you don't have a book. How are you going to get in here? I knew coming in, you see that you had to have a book in order to enter your fine establishment. And he's like, again, still ciphering through. I didn't have a book, but as luck would have it, he says, and he winks at this person. You would never believe, a portal opened up and out popped a book. And he says, as he reaches in and he pulls out this tattered leather-bound notebook that he presents to the gnome.
As luck would have it, I see what you did there. I noticed the devices of Timora upon your vestments. That's very clever. An old notebook, you say? I would. Well, let me take a look at this. What do you happen to know the pedigree of this book? Where it came from? Well, of course not. You said it came to you out of a portal. Have you perused it yourself?
Well, of course. I mean, I had to pass the time somehow. You know, it was a very long walk, and us turtles, we don't really walk too fast. But as I was looking through it, I believe it belonged to a person named Cole. But there was another author in there as well. But I knew because the writing was different, but it seemed to come just a little bit afterwards. whoever this Cole was, it seemed like she ended quite abruptly. I was really into the story she was telling about, dinosaurs and all that. I'm a reptile myself, so, kin knows kin.
It's very interesting. Cool. This appears to be. Yes, I see here where there's a discussion of. Wow, this is quite fascinating. This coal appears to have been of infernal heritage, and there was something. Am I reading this right? The handwriting is interesting. They were a gunslinger. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. I love those stories.
That is absolutely, it's absolutely fascinating. But another author took over here.
Well, yeah, you see here the writing looks a little different, little prettier.
And Master Sage Erky is flipping through, and you see behind him there's a couple of younger sages that are like like trying to get his attention because he's taken so much time looking at this. And
you just hold on a minute. You don't understand. What this is. Well, I can tell you that this will absolutely pass as sufficient for gaining access to our great library. You will, of course, have access to the Court of Open Air for a full 10-day or more, whatever you need. You'll gain access to the Pillars of Pedagogy and if there is room still at the House of Rest, binding services are available. We'll have people inside that can show you around. If you should need something from the inner wards during your visitation, you'll tell them that Master Sage Erky Togglesby would like to personally assist you. I'm going to put this here. What was your name?
Well, I'm Togo. It's nice to meet you.
Togo?
I do have a question for you.
Well, certainly, if I can answer it, I will.
I told you before, I'm looking for my friend, and have you seen a tallish, not as tall as me, but a tallish drow by the name of Mizya? They, I'm looking for them.
Well, you could possibly ask one of the avowed. They are the sort of the pages in the runners and such. I don't know that name personally, that I've interacted with them, but a good place to start would be the Hearth. It's a wonderful tavern and place of meeting and eating, just inside to your left a little ways, once you enter. So, but yes, keep an eye out for one of the avowed. They may be able to assist you in finding your friend.
Wow, thank you. This has been very great. I have good feelings about this place. And he gives this gnome, he's kind of brought back a lot of the items on him, but he will leave the single 4-leaf clover with him. And I wish Tamora's blessings on you.
Yes, thank you so much. Did you?
And he turns immediately to one of the pages. Did you?
See this? Right here, this is written in the actual hand of a weeping friar.
And that's the last you hear as you go walking in. And you just got here, but I'm going to give you a point of inspiration for that little Easter egg. It took me a second when you said Cole. I was thinking meta, that you were just referencing a friend of ours. And then I was like, wait a minute. So very well done. Did I just award a domain tome or did I not?
You did not,
Okay.
following for Smokebeard.
Okay. Sometimes I do it automatically while I'm talking, and then I just completely don't remember if I did or didn't. So thank you, Smokebeard, for the sub. So then you enter through the gate. They let you through the front door that is just ever so slightly open, Togo. And sort of as you enter, the camera kind of pulls away to a wide shot. And cuts across the crowd as there are, in this court of air, which is this large open air space, there are close to 200 people milling around. There are more avowed out here than have been out here before, and the camera kind of moves across to where Doc and Vorn and Mizya, you are trying to get the cart through this crowd, trying to get people to get out of the way, because they were all instructed to wait inside for the avowed. So they're basically doing that thing that crowds like to do. They're bottlenecking just inside the entrance, despite the fact that there's a large amount of space. So you're finding it a little slow going as you are trying to make your way through. But you get the stables are pretty much just inside, so you're able to get there to where the stables are. What is it you all intend to do now that you are here at Candlekeep? What's your first stop?
I would immediately head to my room to unload and probably change, wash my face, whatnot, and would probably just chill out on my own for a while, decompressing after travel.
That would be your intention. However, as you enter the entrance to the House of Rest, you find impossibly more people in clamoring for rooms, and you discover, much to your chagrin, as the halfling woman that is currently running the place comes around and says, "Oh dear. I am terribly sorry, but with the convocation in town, we were not able to keep your rooms reserved for you. You were going outside of the usual 10 days in which we reserve for extensions, so I'm afraid you and your friends will not be able to stay here. However, other arrangements have been made. We were given instructions that you were to be to have a place to stay, regardless.
Are you going to get to the point anytime soon?
Wait.
I'm awfully tired.
You can see that we are quite busy. Teresa Voste gave instructions that whenever you returned, that you should go to the hearth and wait for oh my gosh, I just totally lost their name. The avowed that's been working with you guys.
Irony.
Oh, ironically, I forgot their name. Yes, you should go and wait for Irony who will make sure you are all sorted out. Again, I'm terribly sorry, as she begins moving away from you, letting the crowd of people close in around.
I just stand for an extra 4 or 5 beats and just stare a hole in the back of this person's head as they walk away. And then very slowly will turn and stomp my way back out. And if I come up upon the group, well, they give our rooms away, so we're off to a fantastic start.
Yeah, Vorn is out there steaming. Like, no shit, I went over to Tira's room and it's already been given away to the random traveler. And my room is given away, and
Well,
I hate crowds.
would you like to stand against the wall with me? I'll
Sounds
make
like
space.
Sounds like a plan, Doc. And Vorn's gonna go lean up against the wall. Is it away from the crowd? Is it like just outside the periphery of the crowd?
I think he's talking about in the hearth. Right?
In the hearth.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I can't say that I am excited about it. I will go, but I will not be happy.
I would like Mizya to roll me a D100.
It's 37.
Okay. So you're all heading into the hearth.
Yeah.
All right, Togo, roll me a perception check.
That's an 8, but I think I'm going to use one of my luck dice.
Okay.
Which is 17.
You are standing in the midst of all these throngs of people when there's the movement of the crowd is just enough to where there's briefly almost like a parting of the crowd, and you can just see through to where a lot of people are trying to get rooms at this place called the House of Rest, and there's lines queuing out there for bookings, and you see a very tall, pale looking man, a half orc, and you see a very familiar looking drow with a parasol just emerging from that place. And in this moment that the crowd has just sort of, the rhythm of the crowd has caused this clear line of sight, you see them turn and begin making their way to the place called the Hearth, which is next door to that. They're probably about 100 yards away from you, but it's definitely, you've spotted Mizya.
Perfect. Yeah, Togo wastes no time. Mizya! Oh, I'm so sorry. Excuse me. As he's like trying to like move people around him. Tamora's blessings on you. Tamora's blessings. Excuse me. And he's making a real scene.
Mizya, make a perception check.
Is this auditory or visual?
It's based on hearing.
7.
Can I make a perception check too?
Sure.
I got 19.
Okay. You hear somebody calling Mizya's name.
So Doc will turn around and he will try and see where the voice is coming from.
Not difficult at all to see the large golden-clad turtle gently trying to move around people and blessing them as he moves closer to you.
Doc is going to point out the turtle. He's going to say, "Hey, Mizya, Vorn, look, it's Callow."
I don't think that's Callow, Doc.
But look, it's Callow. Callow's right there.
It's
Doc is
same-
going to wave to the turtle.
Callow? See, it's not Callow, Doc.
Mizya, there's this moment where Vorn and Doc are sort of blocking your view, being much larger than you, so you can't quite see. And then one of them moves, and you just see between them, about at this point maybe 20 feet away from you. You see Togo.
I look up and I kind of do a double take. This kind of like, I think, yes, no, that's not Callow. I do know this one though. And I just kind of sit and like staring right at Togo, and I assume you're getting closer the whole time.
Still calling out your name.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And like I'm looking with this kind of perplexed look, and I pull out a notebook like from my pouch, and I'm like rifling through it real quick. Yes, this is no bongo.
I think at this point, Togo might have gotten up, and he's like, wow, that was there's a lot of people here, he says as he like looks around, but he smiles. But I'm so glad that I finally found you, Mizya. And he like goes in for a hug, but then he stops and he like puts his finger to his nose. But I remember you don't like to be touched.
Yeah, I'm looking at you in abject horror. My face immediately drops. Yes, I am glad that you remember me.
At this point, Doc is going to reach out and try and embrace Togo. And as he does so, he's going to say, "It's so nice to see you again."
Togo smiles and he would like give him a hug back. Well, aren't you a nice, friendly fellow?
Yes, that's true. And he's going to sort of release the hug and he's going to say, "How did you beat us here?"
He like smiles again. Well, I don't think I did.
No,
Well,
no.
But
Doctor, this is not Callow.
I bet he was going to say slow and steady wins the race, right? Right?
oh, that is, I like that. I like that a lot. That would have been good.
Doc is going to lean into Mizya and he's going to say, "What do you mean it's not Callow?"
I mean, it's not Callow. It is a different turtle. Do you notice the complete and utter lack of explosives?
And the gold armor for the smartest person in the group.
Doc is going to reach out and he's going to say to Togo, "Excuse me for 1 second." And he's going to hold up his magnifying glass and he's going to be like, "No, he's not carrying any explosives at all. Oh, and I said he's a he. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were someone else."
That's all right. You said this other person was a turtle. We get that a lot.
Yes, you'll have to excuse my friends here. Perhaps you could introduce yourself to Vaughn and Doc?
Why, yes, of course. I am Togo.
Yes, Togo.
Yes, I am Mizya's guardian.
Wait, what?
He just smiles. He's like beaming at this.
Guardian? We crossed paths at Silvery Moon, yes? I don't remember anything about a guardian. Is that why you were following me around the whole time?
Oh, Mizya, you and your jokes. I always got such a kick out of all your funny isms.
And Doc is going to look at Mizya, and then he's going to glance at Togo. He's going to look at Mizya, and then he's going to glance at Togo, and he's going to say, "Wait, Mizya's funny? Since when?"
Mizya has jokes?
Well, of course, it takes a little bit of time, to get it. And, at first I thought she was just being mean, but that couldn't be true.
Yes, I'm never mean.
She did save my life, after all. And I vowed that I wouldn't rest until I had saved hers, thus becoming her guardian.
Oh, and Vorn looks
Right.
over at Doc.
But perhaps you could share the story of how I saved your life for my friends.
Well, Silvery Moon has a lot of traps, and Mizya, they were walking, and I was walking, and we didn't know each other at this point, like strangers are wont to do, and we passed paths, and I wasn't watching where I was going, and stepped on one of those rocks, and wouldn't you know it, a pit trap started, but Mizya was there, and she saved me. They saved me.
What did Mizya do to save you? Did they disarm the trap?
I'm very curious about that too.
Yeah.
This all sounds very improbable.
Right, well, I get that a lot. Being so lucky, as you can see, as he points to his Timora pendant. Well, I didn't actually see what Mizya did, but I thought for sure I was going to go into that pit trap, but then I didn't. It was gone. And who else could it have been but Mizya?
Vorn looks over at Mizya. Who would have known that you're a softie, Mizya? I thought all you cared about was mimosas and reading.
Well, to be fair, I had not yet learned of mimosas during my time at Silvery Moon. I was most likely reading when this happened. And yes, if Togo says that I saved them, then clearly I did.
Then you have a guardian.
I have a guardian.
This is very strange.
Oh,
And we've seen some very strange things.
Yes, we have. Oh, yes, we have. Togo, I'm Vorn. Nice to meet you. And Vorn extends a big half orc, forearm out to Toga.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Togo will take it with both hands and just shake it, smiling.
We could definitely use some mirth around here. And for a moment, Vorn's face becomes a little dour. Happy to have you aboard. Try to stay alive, huh? Especially guarding us a lot.
Right, well, I've been told all my life that I've been lucky.
You're especially lucky to have Mizya save you. Oh.
Togo just nods. I'm glad to see they found such good friends.
Right. Oh, goodness.
Well, this is not how I expected this day to go at all.
Togo, you can call me Doc.
And Togo smiles and holds out another hand to Doc to shake.
Doc is gonna fist bump the shaking hand, the fingers.
Yeah. Oh, right. And there's this awkward thing where Togo just tries and makes a fist, but it doesn't quite work with his turtle hands. So, but he just. Well, it is. And I completely forgot. I was so excited to talk to you, Mizya, and to finally find you after I believe well, you said you weren't going anywhere while I was doing my mission, but here's the thing. I'm not just here just for the Guardian, but I'm also here because, and he stops and he's like thinking, he's kind of looking around. Right. There are portals that are opening up or have been opened that they think go into I believe it's the dark up Shadowfell. That's it.
There it is. Ha. What serendipity.
It's almost like someone planned it.
Right? Just for full disclosure, I have a blood vendetta, and as I say that, I open my hand and a katana materializes in my hand like out of shadow mist, and then when I put my hand down, the katana just dissipates back in the mist. The second woman I've ever cared about may or may not be alive inside of this Shadowfell. There's halflings, there's what do you call them, Doc? Lycans, right?
What you call them, halflings?
Half wolf, half people?
There you go. Thank you.
Lycanthropes?
Lycanthropes. There you go. Yeah.
A halfling man walking by you just gives you a dirty look for a moment.
So as Vorn is going on, Doc is going to look at him pointedly, and he's going to say, Vorn, I think you're oversharing.
We just learned that Vorn is the person that, as soon as you meet them, just trauma dumps.
Yeah, just immediately trauma dumps.
Togo seems like he is enraptured with what you're saying. Like, this is very interesting to him.
Yeah, no one's checked on Vorn in the last 4 days, so he's feeling a little, held in. So, yeah, just before you start associating with us a lot, just know that if we don't actively seek danger or distractions, it actively seeks us. And then Vorn leans over to his shoulder and goes, right, ditto?
And then you just hear this sort of, oh, what was that? As you say, you don't seek trouble, it actively seeks you. Togo, you hear near, just past where you all have sort of kind of met, and in the midst of this crowd of people are talking, you hear several people gasp about 20 yards away. And from inside the front door of the Hearth, this tavern, you see a massive figure of rippling muscle sort of duck down through the door and then rise to its full height as you see an ogre rise up out of the door, and several people exclaim and back away, and the ogre raises a fist, opens its mouth, and then you hear, "Hello, friends! I was wondering when I was going to see you again," as Little One is greeting you, Doc, Vorn, and Mizya.
Hi, Little One.
Little One?
Hello.
This is Mizya's old friend, Togo.
And Guardian, apparently.
Togo! It is very nice to make your acquaintance, Togo. I am called Little One. And he extends a very large hand out to shake your hand.
In the same way, Togo, to everyone else, has been putting both of his hands out and shaking quite enthusiastically.
Well,
this is amazing.
If you are a friend of theirs, then you are a friend of mine.
I've been coming out about 2 or 3 times a day looking around trying to see if you were all back yet. Kinda missed you if I'm being honest. But with the convocation in town, it's gotten a bit more difficult to see if I could see you. So imagine my surprise when I stick my head outside and it seems as though the blessing of Timora has seen fit to place you right before me. Hey! You wear Timora's sigils upon your breast.
I sure do, and it is so grand to hear you say Timora's name, he says as he pulls out a coin from his shell and flips it up towards little one, and it's has the insignia of Timora on it.
You flip it up, and he's completely not expecting it, and as you flip it up, it just kind of goes dunk. But as luck would have it, it just falls down into his hand, and he just kind of blinks it away. Well, if you all would like to come inside, we can sit around the fire like we used to. Irony should be along before too long.
Yes, I do need to have words with Irony. It seems they have rented out our rooms.
Oh dear. Yes,
Well,
with
I'm
the...
sure. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, with the convocation in town, they are trying to give away as many of the rooms as they can for people to be able to comfortably stay. I understand that they've even been allowing some of the seekers to take up residences in some parts of the Pillars of Pedagogy, and they're even using some of the extra-dimensional rooms here in the Half.
Well, it seems like bad planning to me.
Well, I think... I don't want to spoil the surprise for you, Mizya. I'll let Irony tell you, but I think you're gonna like your new accommodations. Come along! And this massive ogre gently nudges people out of the way to make room for you all to enter into the hearth. And as you do so, Togo, you see that as you pass through into what is surely going to be a crowded space, just based on the crowds everywhere else, as the door opens and you are led inside, the first thing you notice is that the tavern is much larger on the inside than the outside. Where you may have been expecting a smaller, cozy tavern, it is a very large tap room. There are tables everywhere, a large bar, and all along the walls there are numerous doors of different styles and sizes, and there are a few servers going around serving people, and there are some chairs around a fire set up in the middle of the main area that little one is leading you all towards, and that's where we're going to go ahead and take our break. All right, we are going to be back in about 10 minutes. Thank you all who have tuned in so far, and thank you for the support with your bits and your subscriptions. Keep that stuff up. We'd love to see it. And we'll be back with more of Mizya and Togo's reunion and everybody else back at the hearth in Candlekeep. We will see you in just a few moments. And we're back. All right. You are all led to seats around the fire. And little one, who by this point, Togo, you've realized that for the most part, there's with a lot of the larger crowds here, quite a few people do give little one a little bit of a sideways look,
but nobody else, including Mizya and the rest of the group, are really giving little one a second thought. The fact that there's this massive ogre that wears a little gold circlet around his head, and the seat that he sits in, this much larger seat to accommodate him, there's a stack of books that are sitting next to him. And as you sit down, he looks at the books, and he pulls one of them out. It's about 3 down. He pulls one of the books out and says, "This particular tome has proven to be quite illuminating. Phineas manuscripts." And you see that it's a the covers are red with silver hardware around it. It gave the sages quite a bit of trouble trying to open it initially. Turns out you needed to use magic to open this particular book. And he kind of holds it out towards you, Mizya, expectantly, like just holding it up like, huh? Huh? Do you not recognize this?
I will take a close look. I don't know. Do I recognize it?
I'm gonna say you probably... It looks vaguely familiar. And he says, "It was one of the books you donated when you came back from one of your previous adventures."
Oh, yes. Well, I have to admit I didn't look at it that closely. I got some stick from my friends here for turning those over, but yes, I do remember that one.
It is quite interesting to peruse. It's not exactly a story from beginning to end, which those are the ones I prefer. I've been reading this other book here that seems to... it's what they call speculative fiction, and it's one in which they imagine a world in which Baldur's Gate has fallen down into Avernus, and a band of heroes must rescue it from the depths. It's a bit far-fetched, if you ask me. But excuse me for boring you with my reading. How have you been? What have you been up to?
Well, there was an abandoned platinum mine that we're now 1/5 owners of. We flew on an airship. Tira got sucked into a puddle. Turns out Vorn is an oversharer.
Easy.
Togo is apparently Mizya's guardian. At some point, Mizya saved Togo from a pit trap. And,
There was the boat in the storm.
Oh, yes, the dragon turtle, which you irritated and breathed fire on it.
Yeah. That and the werewolf and,
Which werewolf?
You've had quite some interesting adventures. I don't know if I have what it would take to be an adventurer. Oh, here they are now.
And you hear the ringing of the bell as the door opens, and you see the familiar sort of pinkish-skinned tiefling, the young tiefling, Irony, who Togo... Irony is a tiefling who looks to be about somewhere around 15 or 16 years old, wearing the robes of the Avowed, and kind of looks around and spots you all and immediately comes over. Gives little one a little bit of a side hug, very, very dwarfed by a little one who puts his large arm around and just taps them on the shoulder. Irony says,
"Oh, you've returned at last. It's so wonderful to see you here. But you're not all here."
No, we're missing one.
Where's Tira?
She got sucked into a puddle.
So,
She'll be alright, though. I know she will.
well, all right. Well, I trust that you all know what it is you are doing. Well, I don't know how long it is you have been back here, but I'm going to guess by your slightly sour demeanor, Mizya, that you've already found out that they gave your rooms away at the House of Rest.
Sour is one way to put it. But yes, I have found out.
Well, there was not a whole lot that could be done about this. With the convocation coming in when they did, had you been here when the convocation began to assemble, there might have been... Honestly, they would have probably tried to get you to vacate your rooms in favor. But you don't need to worry. Telesavoste has made sure that you will have accommodations that are comfortable and actually are a bit more private. You won't have to deal with as much of the noise that you're having to deal with. And well, I think you're going to like it. There is a reserve collection of the library's books that are kept in a separate location, and it's basically like you're going to be staying in an inn that is library themed with 2 floors of library.
I can read the books, yes?
Yes, you will have full access to all of the books, and the best part is these accommodations in this library is a place known as the Firefly Cellar. It is located right here beneath the tavern, which means you will have direct service for mimosas and ales and whatever else it is you wish.
I make a show of thinking about this. Well, it's not my first choice, but I accept. Barely able to suppress a grin.
Was there something that you needed, Doc?
Yes. I would like to ask Mizya. Mizya, what's your first choice?
Never mind that, Doctor.
Well, you said this wasn't your first choice, and then you said you would accept it. So I'm very curious. What would your first choice be? Would it be the small cell that was in the room surrounded by all the other people? Would it be sleeping on the open air?
Fine, Doctor. This is a perfectly lovely choice, and I'm quite excited about it. Are you happy now?
I wouldn't say that I'm happy, but I'm glad we're communicating effectively.
Me too.
And Vaughn asks, is there a exercise room, punching bags, training dummies?
You won't have access to quite those amenities while you're staying in there, but you'll be able to access some of the facilities in the inner ward soon again. This won't be a problem at all.
I have something for you. And this, this Tira not here, I will just give this to you. And Irony produces from their shoulder, their like messenger bag that they carry, some small coin purses. And you are given 5 coin purses with 69 gold pieces each. Little one just goes, nice. It's a total of 345 gold pieces, but it's per your contract, paying you for the amount of time you were gone. So let me drop this in the chat. So whoever is keeping track of this info, you have this. And you can figure out there's an extra 69 gold pieces there.
Is that for Tira?
Well, Tira's also accounted for, but there's 69 gold pieces in 5 pouches.
Gotcha.
So you have an extra pouch of coins to figure out how you're going to deal with that. Divvy it amongst yourselves, whatever you're going to do. You have the information. So if you want to know how much gold you have, Ricky, you have to put that in your character sheet.
Or I will forget it until I'm needed again. But Vorn's definitely going to order 2 ales, and he remembers what Tira likes to drink, so he orders one for her and one for himself, and then drinks both of them. And he, like, before he does it, he raises a glass and actually, I'm gonna buy Mizya mimosa. Togo, what have you? Water, sparkling water, ale.
Well, I've always been an ale turtle myself. And he smiles, but he looks to Irony. Hi, I'm Togo. And he like outstretches his hand.
Ah, it is very nice to make your acquaintance. Are you here for the convocation? How do you know the book club here?
I am Mizya's guardian.
Oh. Irony looks quizzically at you, Mizya.
And I just kind of shrug and... Yes?
Interesting. So you will be accompanying the book club for how long?
Well, I have 2 missions. One is to look from... first of all, I am a worshiper of Timora, and he like pulls up his little
I can see
pendant.
that.
Right. I've always been lucky my whole life, but Timora, she told someone who told someone else who told someone else to tell me to go and look into these rifts that I've been opening up in the to get into the Shadowfell. So, to answer your question, I'm here until I either save Mizya from sure death and or figuring out why there are these rifts to the Shadowfell. He like stands really tall and proud of himself for kind of remembering all of that.
And Vorn looks over at Togo and he says, I've never met, so far, there are no mean turtles. Is everyone just as affable as you are?
Well, no, I have met quite a mean turtle. He snapped at me once, just like, and he like, Togo just like closes his mouth, imitating that. But, when you live as long as we do and you move as slowly as we do, you can't take life too seriously.
And as the drinks arrive, Vorn raises his glass and makes sure everyone has one. He goes, to Tira's safe return to the book club, and to our newest member, Togo, and lifts a giant glass of ale up, or mug of ale.
Togo, I have a question.
I have an answer for you.
You said that you were Mizya's guardian, right?
That's right.
Well, why weren't you here before? It feels like we've been on something like 50 or 55 adventures, and you're just showing up now. It seems very strange.
Right? Yeah, well, that is a very good question. My answer to that is Mizya and we came from Silvery Moon down to Waterdeep, and we were supposed to come to Candlekeep, but you know, they have Timora, her temple's there, and I went to pay my respects, as you do, and got whisked away on this this mission. And now I'm coming back because I have been assigned it by Timora, who told someone else, who told someone else, who told someone else to tell me.
Mizya, what do you make of all this?
And I just take a big, long swig of my mimosa.
Mizya gonna Mizya. Is there anything in particular that anybody wanted to take care of while you're here before you are brought to your lodgings?
Yes, I am going to go to the supply store and see if my next order of supplies for the Kobold Society has arrived.
Okay. When you let's see, who is that again? Who runs that place? Feldmar Bissett. Yeah, when you go to talk to Feldmar, he seems a little put out because it's been over 2 weeks. It's been 23 days since you were here last. And he suggests to you that ordering stuff with not having a definite pickup time makes it difficult to have to continue to feed the goats and keep the other supplies and everything. He suggests that you maybe set up a regular if this is going to be a regular occurrence, that you set up some kind of a regular shipment, maybe even direct ordering to the location, hiring somebody to handle that. He doesn't offer anything, he just suggests it.
That's totally fair, but if we're looking at the counterpoint of things being fair, if you recall, my previous order was waylaid by pirates, so I was out almost a whole month of transportation and goods that I had to wait. So to be fair, I think you being inconvenienced for a few extra days is fair, wouldn't you say?
I would not say this. I specifically said that it wasn't fair. Pirates are not my problem.
Apparently they are.
And whatever it is that holds you up when you're gone for 2-3 weeks, a month, who knows? What am I supposed to do? How long do I hold on to these before I assume you're not coming back, and then I just have a whole mess of goats I have to sell?
I said that I would come back, and to be fair, you lost my last order, so it seems like you and I are square.
I wasn't asking for any extra compensation or otherwise saying, listen, I was just suggesting if you're going to continue to order in this sort of thing to supply this place, that perhaps you could set up some sort of direct shipment, or better yet, whatever it is that you are
supplying with this stuff. Teach them how to farm the land themselves. Teach them goat husbandry.
Well, that's the idea.
Oh, then it sounds like you're on the right track.
As usual. How much do I owe you?
He tells you a total that I will tell you later, because I don't remember what all you ordered. It's been so long since we talked about this.
Doc says, okay then.
And did you want to place the same order?
Yes.
Of course. And he pulls out the parchment and quill and just begins writing down and says, well, unless you have any additions or substitutions, I will process this order for you.
Very well. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yeah, Togo would want to kind of sit down with Mizya for a while. Mizya, first of all, I just have to say, I do apologize for not, staying with you throughout your trip and subsequent adventures, but it really does sound like you have a really good group of friends.
Yes, well, don't let it happen again.
Ha! Oh, Mizya, you and your sense of humor, I will never get over it. I'd like to think that I passed on a little bit of my luck to you in that interim. But the other reason why I'm here, do you know anything about rifts to the Shadowfell?
Well, technically, yes. I passed through one in a child's grave some days back, and well, I have one in a bag. And I just kind of like pull my robe back, and you see this bag of holding tied to my hip.
Togo just claps. You see, I knew you were the right brow to go to.
Togo, this bag that you see, this leather pouch kind of hanging off of the belt that's around Mizya's inner robes, you can see that it looks like dry ice, but it's black, and it's just sort of very thin wisps of shadow that just seem to be emanating from it and spilling out. Which reminds me, I totally forgot to make you do a couple of wisdom saves. So I'm going to make you just do the one wisdom save, Mizya.
It's a 12.
There were some time during your travels where you found it best to not, while you were on the airship for 4 days, if you didn't keep the bag directly on your person, it didn't seem to bother you as much.
Mm-hmm.
But you feel it like a cold weight. But you do manage to fight it off.
And I am very cognizant of, like, it's agitated by it, and it's kind of leading to my increased agitation at not having a room where I can offload my stuff. And I'll even start to kind of look around while Togo's talking to me, kind of like half paying attention to what they're saying, looking for somebody, to come tell me where I can go.
Well, I see you're busy now, and I'm not going to bother you too much about it, but if you could help me out in trying to figure out how to get, well, and he pauses and he stops to think, I don't think the person who told me ever really specified how far I was supposed to go into this. he kind of laughed at me when I volunteered and said that I would do it. And in fact, I knew someone who could lead me to this. He kind of laughed a little bit, and I laughed a little too because it was a little funny. But I'm so glad that I now can show them, can show them, you know, that I can do this. He takes a sip of his ale.
Well, I'm kind of, and I'm looking around. I'm sure we'll help you just find Togo. You know, but then I kind of like I'll jerk my attention back. Oh, do you have a place to stay while you're here?
Well, I was told to go stay in the house of rest, but I guess that's not happening. So, you know, and he kind of fits one arm into his shell and then another. One of the perks of being a turtle is that you have your home with you. I'm sure I can find a corner.
If you're going to be joining us, then you might as well stay with us. I'm sure there'll be room in this book inn that they're giving us. So yes, please stay with us.
Togo just smiles. Luck strikes again. I would be more than happy to stay.
And I think like right about this time, you see this figure like inch its way out from under my robes by my feet, and Oscar just kind of like sidles up and like sits right on your foot and just kind of stares up at you.
Oh my, what a sweet little thing. And Togo bends down and begins to pet whatever this autumn this clockwork dog.
Oh, I've not seen him do that yet. But he seems to have taken a shine to you. Well, I made it him, so I'm sure he's a good judge of character. Yes. I think Oscar approves of you rooming with us.
Well, that is the best approval that I've ever seen. And Togo will like bow, make a little mock bow to Oscar.
It's just settled then.
Where are we staying? I can help you with your bags if you'd like.
That is a fantastic question. And I just start to look around again.
Vorn.
Yes.
Is there anything that you wanted to do in this time?
Yeah, Vorn, is little one around anywhere inside? Okay. Vorn is going to saddle up to little one, and he is telling little one like everything that happened from the warehouse. We were fighting the rats all the way through when Tira disappears. And at the moment where he mentions Tira falling into the mud, you know, there's a lot of gesturing, of sword swinging, and talking to little one about how, you know, we fought the dragon and got burned by the fire and dealt with the storms and the ice mountain and all these, you know, great tales. But then when he gets to the point in which Tyr disappears, he kind of like, his mood suddenly drops and he goes, hey little one, I'm gonna call it a night. And then he stands up and walks outside, and just to get away from the crowd and everyone, it kind of walks to the center of the courtyard, if you will, and looks up into the stars to see if he can see anything at all.
As you walk out into the courtyard, the court of open air, the crowds have thinned. It's later in the day. It's early evening, so you've got a lot of that twilight, so there's not as many stars visible at this point. But definitely on a clear early summer day like this, you see, as you turn towards the east, where it's darker, you can see a few more of these stars. And yeah, as you're just kind of looking up into the sky.
Yeah. And there's a moment where I summon the katana and I feel the heft of the blade, and I kind of hold it within inside of its sheath, and I just kind of watch as the sun begins to drop across the horizon and night falls slowly. Just taking a moment to myself, that's all.
The crowds are definitely thinner, but there's still a lot more people than you're used to seeing here in the Court of Open Air. And there's a few, sometimes small groups of people walking by, and some people after days of travel have been partaking quite heavily in the hearth and are stumbling out, heading towards the House of Rest. A group of people passes by you relatively close, and somebody bumps into you. And as they bump into you, there's just this sort of gruff mutter. They don't even really apologize. But this person has they have the smell of travel, that sort of somebody who's been on the road for a while. They have a heavier cloak, fur cloak, and it almost smells like wet dog as they bump up against you. Make a perception check, which apparently are the only rolls we're going to do today, because I've just been having you all roll perception checks.
And Vorn goes, "No worry, friend," as first pass. Wow, that's a natural 1, and they got a 5 because the plus on that.
Okay.
No worry, friend. No worries.
You say no worry, friend, and this person just sort of kind of looks over their shoulder. Not your friend, and keeps walking.
Don't have many these days, and I turn my back and walk the opposite direction.
All right. Eventually, you make your way back to the hearth, and fortunately, Irony is already there, and is just telling the others that if I've finally talked to Crinkle, who oversees the Firefly Cellar, and all arrangements have been made. There are just a couple other guests that will be staying in the quarters there, but there is a room for all of you. If you would like to come with me, I will show you the way. And Irony leads you to a door that Vorn, for a moment, you recognize this door. This is the same door that you went through when you went to the Fight Club with Tira about a month ago. Except when you get to the door, Irony stops and grasps the door handle, and as they grab the door handle, they slide the door handle across to the other side of the door, and then they make like a couple turns, like almost like if you have one of those doors where you have to like push in the knob and turn it to lock or unlock it. They do that kind of a motion, and then they open the door and look inside, and they're like, "Hi, okay, this is it." And open up the open up the door to the to a set of stairs leading downward. It's actually a spiral staircase leading down. As you begin to descend down the stairs, you partway down, you see into a large open area, and I'm just going to give you a preview of what you see as you're descending the stairs. Actually, I'm not, because I just realized I didn't load those maps, so I'm not going to show you that. I'll share it with you later. I knew there was something I didn't do. What you see is a very large. You catch a glimpse into this area that is looks to be 70-80 feet in diameter, arranged in a circular area. You see that you're going down this spiral staircase. It's just on one side of this large circular area with rows and rows of bookcases arranged in these concentric circles. There's alcoves that have some kind of statues in them, and you just see a soft protected lantern glow illuminating this entire area, and you just see it almost like light glinting off of jewels. You see the light glinting off of the gilded bindings and pages, the various leathers in different colors of hundreds and thousands of books. And you descend down further, and you pass by another level just as big as this first one. You see in the middle of this area there's a large table where people can gather to do research, and there again are just hundreds and thousands of books in this place. And when you get to this level, you actually follow Irony as you walk into the space and sort of move around the outer edge, as you just see, and these are very well kept books as well. As Irony explains that a lot of the books that are here are organized as best as Varnier, one of the senior scribes, could organize them. These are all books that require some degree of restoration. Bindings need to be repaired. Some of them just haven't been categorized yet or integrated into the larger collection. But this is in its own right a library that many smaller towns or even cities would consider a large library. And this represents but a small fraction of the knowledge contained within Candlekeep. You walk around to the far side to another set of stairs that lead downward into a long hallway that is dimly lit. There's one section where a lantern is really low and sputtering, kind of like the equivalent of, like, you go into the basement of an office and there's that one fluorescent light that's kind of like buzzing and going ting ting tz. And then you're brought to a door and you enter an area where there's a communal kitchen and pantry, and then there are different rooms. There are a total of 7 rooms down this hallway, and you are brought to the third door on the right, which opens up into a room pretty decent sized, about 40 square feet. It's an odd shaped room with one angular wall, and there are 5 beds that have been crammed into this room. I know it is not the most austere of accommodations But I do hope, they say looking at you, Mizya, that the full resources of the libraries above will make up for the Spartan accommodations here.
I look at these beds that are just crammed together. So you took away our rooms and are now asking us to bunk in this closet together. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And do you think that giving me ready access to thousands of books will placate my disappointment?
Yes.
Well played.
You see very visibly that they relax a little bit. Like they weren't 100% sure this was going to work.
It works out quite well. I only need like 4 hours of sleep per night, and Doc needs 0. So I think we'll make do. It does look gives us room for Togo to room with us. Is that going to be a problem?
This should not be a problem at all. There are, well, at present there are 4 of you, and there are 5 beds here.
Irony. And Vorn digs through a satchel, and he finds the Elven Book of Martial Arts, The Winter's Dance, and he goes, can you see 2 of the discs returned back to the library? I don't want any late fees.
Yes, of course. Did you took this with you?
Yeah, was I not supposed to?
You are very much not supposed to.
Oops.
If you would like a copy of this, you can arrange to have professional copies made at the House of the Binding. That was something I told you on your first day here. I'm going to pretend that you left this in your room and you did not take this out into the world with you. Are these scorch marks?
I mean, give or take, and there may be a few water stains from the storm. Hey,
I do not hear what you are saying. I will bring this to Vanilla, who will put it in with the cure of restoration. Please remember that you are not to take any books out of the library. It is not that kind of library. It is not a lending library. It is a collection of knowledge that you may have access to while you are here. I'm going to leave you before I find out other things that I don't want to know. This is, as I said, there's a communal kitchen down at the end. It is getting late. Tomorrow we will introduce you to Crinkle, who is sort of the caretaker of this place. Their room is right next here to yours at the end of the hall. She is interesting, I will say this. Anyway, I will talk to you all tomorrow. And I know that Telesavoste would like to begin to talk with you as well about whatever the next job may be, and we'll have to make arrangements if you want to join the book club Togo to get you added to the payroll as well. Anyway,
you're getting paid for this.
Yeah, I negotiated us a nice lucrative deal.
Well, ain't that the most exciting thing?
Well, I wouldn't say it's the most exciting thing.
Doc,
You're
don't
right.
be such a downer. It's a good thing, Toga. We're getting paid.
I'd say it was a bad thing.
As you all begin to get settled in for the evening, one last time, I did not plan for it to go this way, but I would like you all to roll a perception check. I did not plan for an entire session of perception checks. It just worked out that way.
And me with my -1 perception. I got an 8.
8.
I got a 10.
Okay.
Got a 4.
18.
As you all begin to settle in for rest in whatever form that takes, you hear a couple other sounds outside your room, kind of like when you're in a hotel and you can hear other guests moving around. You hear a couple doors close. And you hear somebody shuffling down the hall. And you see a soft glow as somebody's carrying a lantern. And you hear somebody is humming a tune. And then you, just for a moment, Vorn, you hear the words, "See a mother sighing wheat, forgotten husband sleeping near. With one swing she took his feet, with another took his ear. Does the shadow have a name? Shemshime. 'Cause his grief avoids the blame. Shemshime." And then a door is closed and the sound fades away. And that's where we're going to end our session tonight. All right.
Fantastic.
We now have another turtle. And it's awesome. We are so excited to have you joining us, Em and Togo. Next week, Carrie will be back. And I'm going to say that for the next couple of weeks, things are going to be a little different. I hope to see everybody back here next week, because whatever you were expecting after tonight's session, I guarantee you it's not at all what is going to happen next week. So with that, we are I want to say a thank you to everybody who tuned in tonight, and to everybody who was has been supporting the channel and excuse me, has been supporting the channel through whatever ways. If you're somebody that is was lurking in the chat and you don't necessarily participate, that's cool. We appreciate you all the same. In just a moment, as we get ready to leave, we are going to send a raid over to Buzz Lightyear, who I'm not really sure what Last Call BBS is, but been streaming over there for a little bit. So we're gonna send a raid over there. Get that queued up. Let me find Buzz here. There we go. And of course, before we get out of here, I want to say a huge thank you, as always, to these awesome players that I get to play with every week, and that we get to play with even more with M. So thank you, Gary, M, Dwight, Ricky, and even though she wasn't here, she was here with us in spirit, Carrie, without whom it would just be me talking to myself for a couple hours. With that, we are going to go ahead and end this stream the same way we end every stream. And you can say it with me if you want.